when dealing with and using biostimulants or inoculation for population regulation, you have three major concerns: suppression, control, and eradication. Most of the time, we choose not to use chemical controls because it's very hazardous and requires much more personal protective equipment. Many times we are called into scenarios where an action threshold has been observed and requires chemical control for an immediate knockdown. At that point, we require much more personal protective equipment. In many instances, using organic biostimulants or inoculants, the full complement of personal protective equipment is not required. You will not need to have a full face shield, you will not need to use rubber gloves, or wear a full body coverall suit. The number one concern for safety regulations and the use of personal protective equipment is the preservation of life. You want to preserve the health and well-being of your operator, but we also know that you want to preserve biological life within the soil and within the organism that you're treating. Therefore, that gives us a chance to make the distinction between how much safety and how much chemicals you need to use at one time. Right now, I'm going to give everyone a full demonstration of how to gear up for a chemical application, as well as the full complement of personal protective equipment. Now, first thing I'm going to do is grab my coverall suit. Now, these are available at most of your safety supply companies. There's several that we use. Whichever one is most efficient, which you might have a membership to, or happens to be the cheapest, is probably your best bet. But these coverall suits are full body, they have elastic wristbands, and they have a hood. And so right now, I'm going to unzip halfway and go ahead and get into this on the spot. Now, I am the primary pesticide applicator, and so I'm very familiar with how to put all of this equipment on. You'll probably have to give your guys a moderate amount of training to let them know in what order to put this equipment on so that you don't cross-contaminate or put your operator in any danger. Now that I have my full body suit on, I'm ready to put on my gloves. Now, we like to use high visibility rubber gloves that come powdered or non-powdered, but they are also 5 mil, which means they are somewhat puncture proof, and they give you the added benefit of stain, spill, contamination, and chemical resistance. And you want to make sure that you give your operator plenty of time to put his personal protective equipment on. It's very, very important that they still have the ability of touch, fingertip control, and that they also take the elastic sleeves and bring them all the way down over the cuffs of the gloves. Next, which is always a good idea, and when using chemicals it is required that first you put on a chemical resistant breather mask and full face shield, which I'm going to demonstrate now. Now, for those of you with any experience wearing personal protective equipment, you will realize that this is excessively hot. I'm already sweating, and it's gotten to the point where it's very uncomfortable. And so, another one of the primary concerns of your swingman is to make sure that your operator keeps his focus, keeps his attention, and make sure that he does not run the risk of heat stroke or fatigue.